Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Mazal tov. One of my earliest memories was hearing the melody that we began our service with today. It was a melody that my own parents sang to me when I was a child before going to sleep, and it's part of our bedtime ritual. It can be found in most sidurim and most prayer books for the service just before one goes to bed. And the words are, "In the name of God, the God of Israel, to my right is the angel Michael, to my left is the angel Gabriel, behind me is Raphael, and before me is Uriel, and above my head is the Shekhinah, the feminine presence of God." And I always understood this as a prayer of protection. And then I remember there was one day, many years later, where I was in a very challenging moment, and suddenly that melody came into my mind, and it sounded exactly like when my parents used to sing it to me. It was striking. And such is the power of song. This is the power of song and of the human spirit. And so just yesterday was our very last day of Passover. And in the last days of Passover, what we think about is the crossing of the sea, of the Red Sea. And it was a miracle that was beyond compare in our tradition of unparalleled magnitude, because the children of Israel thought they were stuck. On one hand, there was Pharaoh pursuing them with all of the chariots. On the other side was the sea, impossible to cross. And they thought, this is the end. There is no way forward. There's nothing we can do. But suddenly the waters opened up, and they walked through on dry land, and they crossed. But it wasn't just a regular crossing. And Rabbi Natan of Nemirov, he says, it wasn't only that they were being saved, but at that moment they were transported to a whole other place, a whole other experience of transcendence. And as the Midrash says, even a handmaid saw at the sea what the prophet Yecheskel, Ezekiel, did not. And the word that they use in the Torah for when they cross the sea and suddenly the waters part and there is a space in between is charava. And charava is a very unusual word. It means actually destruction, or it means desolation. It's a word that's used for the end of days often. And it's meant to tell you where they went. They went to a place that was completely other. Rabbi Natan says they went to a place beyond space and time. And all they had to describe that experience, all they had to describe that place was song. All they had was a melody that came up within them to show gratitude for the moment that they were free, thank God at last, after 400 years. You can imagine what that must have felt like, that their God that come to save them was a God of love. And they just started to sing, and their song was the most beautiful song we have, Ozi v'zi matzah vayhi Yeshua, which we translate as "my strength and the song of God will be my salvation," but really there's no way to translate that verse. It makes very little sense, because it's all one. Salvation, song, God, all are one in this verse. How can you describe all of it? Our tradition says that this song that they sung was the highest prophecy that was ever achieved by any Israelite. It had everything in it. And so songs bring us to that place where words cannot bring us, cannot describe. So as Jews, since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago, we have not been the people of beautiful buildings. Yes, we do have beautiful shuls, including this one. But there have been many times over thousands of years we've not been able to build big, beautiful buildings. We never knew how long we were going to stay. We were not allowed to. But we became a people of song, because you can take your songs wherever you go. You can take your melodies wherever you go. And songs carry all our spiritual emotions: love, the need for protection, for love, celebration, sadness, joy. Many years ago, our congregation was on a congregational trip in Israel. And on the Friday night, we were at the Western Wall at the Kotel. And suddenly everything just came together. We randomly met family members of some of the people who were in our group. It was a beautiful spring evening. And our synagogue prayers, that's our little group, were so powerful that suddenly everybody else was coming in and dancing with us. They wanted to join our minyan and left their minyan. And that was a Kabbalat Shabbat service to remember. And we thought we have to bring that to our synagogue. And this is part of what this service is about, trying to bring that joy, trying to bring that uplift, knowing that song can bring us to that kind of place of inspiration, of joy, that we can take with us into the rest of our lives. So, Leo, I wanted to say that the joy of a bar mitzvah fits into some of this category of just that kind of joy. And you said just a few days ago that you spent 7 years going to religious school for 3 hours a week to prepare for this moment. And that's half your life that you've been coming to this building to study, to absorb, to feel like this is your community, your spiritual home, that you have a home in Judaism. And we hope that you can take it all in, and as we all share a little in the pride and joy of this moment for you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.